Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Everyone, welcome to the show. So 43-year-old Kentucky resident Shelly Stallings was a Pennsylvania resident when she traveled to D.C. with her then husband and co-defendant Peter Schwartz. Stallings and Schwartz made their way to the Lower West Terrace. This was after entering the Capitol grounds, and Stallings watched as her husband violently attacked the police. She admitted to the FBI that Schwartz threw a metal chair at the officers. He hit at least 7 of them with it. He then grabbed a duffel bag. It wasn't really clear if he brought the duffel bag or if this was a duffel bag that belonged to the police, but it was filled with 3 to 4 fire extinguisher size cans of pepper spray. He used those to repeatedly douse the police with chemicals. And Stallings said that her husband used a baton to hit one officer in the head. Now, with the exception of the baton incident, all of Stallings' statements were verified and backed up with video evidence. But Schwartz wasn't the only one who was violent. At one point, he handed a canister of the pepper spray to Stallings, and she also doused the police. Then Stallings entered the Lower West Terrace tunnel, and she took part in that heave-ho against the police, that push against the police. And her husband and 2 other co-defendants also entered that tunnel. They also were spraying officers with the chemicals in there. Sometime later, Stallings and her husband exited the tunnel and they left the Capitol grounds. So on February 8th of 2021, the FBI interviewed Stallings while they were arresting her husband. She admitted that they were both at the Capitol, but she tried to downplay their actions, and she left out the fact that she sprayed the police with chemicals. She then tried to convince the agents that Schwartz only became violent because she said that he believed that the police were spraying her with chemicals. So in her telling, he was defending her. Stallings later, though, reached out to the FBI. This was in the months that followed, and she just spilled all the tea. Stallings admitted to lying in the February interview, and she admitted that when they found 2 pistols in her home, which was when they searched it and arrested him, she had told them that they belonged to her. They were her guns. She then corrected the record and said, no, they actually belonged to him. They belonged to my husband. She also told the FBI that Schwartz beat her up. She said he beat her up 2 days prior to his arrest. She said then he beat her up again after she was interviewed in February. And she said that, yes, I lied to the FBI, but I did it out of fear of what he would do to me. And Stallings said that Schwartz had sent her up to 30 messages from jail and that he was threatening to kill her if she cooperated with the FBI. So following the second interview, Stallings handed over her laptop. She gave them her desktop computer, and they searched and they found no threats from Schwartz. So the FBI interviewed Stallings again. This was in January of 2022, and they confronted her about all of her previous statements, seemingly false statements. She was very evasive, but she did admit that, I did actually spray chemicals at the police. But she said, she still tried to downplay it. She said, no one was hurt. I didn't think it was a big deal for me to mention it because I only did it for like a second or two. So Stallings was arrested on February 16th of 2022, and she was charged with civil disorder, assaulting officers with a dangerous weapon, entering restricted grounds with a dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct on restricted grounds with a dangerous weapon, physical violence on restricted grounds with a dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds, and physical violence on Capitol grounds. Surprisingly, Stallings pleaded guilty to all of the charges against her in August of 2022 and without a plea agreement. So based on the most serious felony charge, she was looking at up to 20 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. The government, however, requested 51 months in prison, 3 years of probation, $2,000 in restitution, and some sort of fine. They didn't specify how much. Stallings' attorney said, let's just give her a sentence of 1 day because she took responsibility for her actions by pleading to all of these charges. And Stallings has a bit of a criminal history. Although they didn't provide the dates, the prosecutor said that Stallings has previous convictions for theft and for driving while impaired. So U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta presided over her case, and he told her, quote, "You came clean, but only after indisputable evidence was presented against you." But then he added, quote, "You've had a hard life. Your husband didn't make it any better." And then, without mentioning Donald Trump or anyone else by name, Judge Mehta said, quote, "She's not there that day unless people who knew better didn't fill average Americans' heads with lies and deceit." In the end, Judge Mehta sentenced Stallings to 2 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. So this is by far the longest sentence given to a female defendant for January 6th, at least up to this point. I think the longest we've seen in most other cases, like 3 to 4 months. But we still have the female oath keepers that haven't been sentenced yet. So they will definitely receive more time than Stallings. And if you were wondering, her estranged husband is one of the very few who's been in jail since his arrest. So he's going to be sentenced on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. We will all have to raise a toast to his further incarceration that night. Anyway, guys, I will let you know what happens with him. I will let you know if I hear any more about her. But yeah, this was a good sentence. So appreciate that, Amit Mehta. All right. Thanks so much again, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.